And a good morning to you. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Art Lewis Show. After the 10 o'clock news, we'll talk to Dr. Angela Seabright from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. She's going to talk about swapping screen time this summer. And at 11 o'clock, we'll take a look at Rocket Grab Plus on Focus. But for this hour, something we haven't done in a while, open phones for the whole hour. 989-752-6111. And joining me in studio, Jonathan Dent. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you beating the heat?
I'm sitting in this studio where the air conditioning works.
Yeah.
The alternative is sitting across the hall where the air conditioning doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No.
Is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, ooh.
So I love being here.
Yeah, good. And this is the day that Mike Avery's over there.
Yeah.
Well, he's an outdoorsman.
Yeah, he's fine.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Well, anyway, line's open for you, whatever you'd like to chat about. Pulled a couple of things down. Been a lot of court rulings, Supreme Court, and even one you don't hear about very much, but it's of interest to all of us in the business. A judge has blocked the Pentagon from requiring escorts for journalists.
Really?
Yep. And what he said in his opinion, it was U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman, quote, believe that the nation's security requires a free press and an informed people, and that such security is endangered by governmental suppression of political speech.
When did they start requiring?
Back last year.
Last year?
Yeah. I want to say maybe October or I don't remember now exactly when, but it was last year. Not only that, they closed down the press's gathering area.
I remember that.
They're moving it to an annex building on the Pentagon grounds, but outside the Pentagon.
So they can restrict access.
Well, I think
in certain ways. But
yes and no, because they put the building outside, but they can't stop the reporters from coming in and walking around.
Exactly.
They're claiming that right now, security is of the most importance, and
nope.
But no, the public's right to know within reason. By the way, the policy was October of 25.
Okay.
The public's right to know is inherent in the Constitution. However, having said that, there are limits. And good journalists will recognize those limits to not publish war strategies that are in place, And I understand the Pentagon's concern, but what the judge said, and because of comments made by Hegseth and others, that this was retaliatory and not based on
I would agree with that.
Logic.
And you say that there are limits and a good journalist will respect those limits.
And there are those that won't.
The competitive nature of today's media incentivizes it provides a reason for journalists to push those limits.
It always has.
Yeah.
It was always the desire to be first.
Exactly.
And that's been true forever. But good journalists know how to live within the constraints of that.
And do what's best for.
And today, unfortunately, to be a journalist, all you have to do is say, I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
You got social media, you got all kinds of platforms. So the reliability of the individual doing the reporting can be questioned. But the folks that go into the Pentagon are mostly, reporters that have been vetted.
Yep.
And are known.
I wouldn't say mostly. I'd say they all go through some vetting.
Yeah. I tell you a funny story about that. This goes back quite a number of years now. Boy, I want to say, let's see, this would have been probably the mid-'90s. There was a movement by the Pentagon to build data centers. They were financial centers.
Mm-hmm.
Saginaw was among one of 5 communities being considered. They were going to pick 4 out of the 5. And our advantage was we already had fiber optics. We had lots of advantages. And they announced that they would reveal the selected towns on a certain date. So I went to our then program director, Rick Belcher, and I said, Rick, you got to send me to Washington, D.C. Why? I mean, what are you going to do there? I'm going to get your story. So little negotiating went on, and finally they agreed, and off I went to Washington, D.C. And now you have to understand, I'm a fish out of water in Washington, D.C. I have no credentials. I have nothing. And my original thought was I'll go over to the Pentagon, see what the press conference is, and go to the press conference. I stayed with a friend at their apartment in Washington. And when I woke up in the morning, it was about 7 o'clock, I said, John, you got to do me a favor. Instead of the Pentagon, take me over to the House Office Building. And at the time, this was right after Jim Barsha had been elected as congressman, and he had carried over some of Bob Traxler's folks. Raj Semrai was one of them. So I get to the building, and I've got a bag because I've got remote stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through security, no problem. Asked where Congressman Barsha's office was. They told me. And I went into the office. As I walked into the office at about 7:29, Raj Semrai was at the desk. He had just picked up the phone, and he was getting from the Pentagon all the information.
Yeah.
He's writing it down, handing it to me, writing it down, handing it to me. So I got on a phone, called up, and I think Rick was on the board at the time. I said, whatever you're doing, stop, put me on the air right now. And we broke the story that not only did they not select Saginaw, they didn't select any community. But in addition, there was news about air bases and moves of people within air bases, a facility in Grand Rapids. I had all these stories that I spewed out over the air. In City Hall downtown, all the city fathers and the rest of the media had gathered waiting for the call from the Pentagon to tell them what was going on. And they had our station on in the chamber. Guess what they all heard at 7:30?
Yeah. Yep.
We beat them all. And it was pretty funny. But at the time, it was one of those, I mean, pure luck.
Yeah.
First thing I told myself was, don't go to the Pentagon. You don't know what you're doing. And secondly, I said, where's the next place it's going to happen? And that's when I went to the Congress.
And you worked through legitimate chains of
absolutely.
information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's journalistic ethics. Or I'm not just going to walk around the Pentagon and poke my head over someone's shoulder, see what they're working on.
And the Associated Press paid me $50.
Oh, there you go.
For what was it? Enterprising journalism, I think is what they call it.
Okay.
So that was my close call with the Pentagon, but no, didn't go.
No.
The smartest thing I ever did.
What year was that?
This had to be, I'm saying 93 or 94. It's in that window somewhere in there.
I bet security's tightened up a lot since then.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then the court
At the Pentagon, anyway.
The court just lowered it.
Yeah.
All right. If you have any comments, it's open phones today, 989-752-6111. Toll-free number, same thing, 989-752-6111. I haven't done that in a long time. Let me take a moment to talk about potholes because they're out there, and we hit them all the time. And sometimes they seem to be getting worse rather than better. And they can damage your alignment. Our friends at Quick Lane Freeland are offering you a complimentary alignment check. That's right, a complimentary alignment check. Stop in today and ask for it. They'll put your car up and check it out and let you know what they find. And by the way, if you need tires, because potholes can damage your tires, they sell all their new tires at just $5 over cost. And bad alignment can wear out your tires, among other things. And I've asked John from Quick Lane Freeland to explain that.
If your vehicle's wheels are aligned correctly, it will not pull to the left or to the right when driving. It also prevents improper tread wear, so your tires last longer. A wheel alignment should be checked often because normal steering wear and tear can cause your alignment to go out in addition to potholes and railroad crossings. A correct alignment also reduces rolling resistance on your tires for better fuel mileage.
And better safety, too. Stop in today, Quick Lane Freeland, for your complimentary alignment check. Quick Lane Freeland, part of the McDonald Ford complex in Freeland. 2 names standing ready to help you with all your automotive needs in 2026. McDonald Ford and Quick Lane Freeland.
Gotta go.
All right, we're back with you here on WSUW. Art Lewis, and in studio with me, Jonathan Dent. And let's talk to Carl in Saginaw. Carl, good morning.
Good morning, Art. Good morning, Jonathan. Art, do you happen to know, the 4th of July is on Saturday, but is the federal holiday on Friday or is it on Monday?
Friday, the 3rd.
Friday's no post office closed on Friday.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not somehow.
Right,
somehow we've avoided that being a Monday holiday. I don't know how that happened.
Well, there seemed to be a press they were for a while. They were trying to get everything on a Monday.
Yeah.
All holidays it seemed on a Monday, but so this one didn't. But that's fine. You're talking about the Supreme Court and one of their decisions. Of course, the big one yesterday was birthright citizenship.
Yep. It was one of the big ones. There were a couple.
Yeah. Well, to me that was the big one. Yeah. One of them was transgender students, which to me, people have made a mountain out of a molehill, I believe. There's only a handful of students in the whole country, that are going to be banned, by these laws. I just think spending a lot of attention on that where it's really not necessary.
Well, they've created a lot of their own tension, though. But that's a whole other story. I do agree that the birthright was the biggest one.
Yep.
Yes. And the Supreme Court, has held it up for now.
Yep.
Although the Republicans are saying, they're going to try to do something through Congress or, if they want to try to amend the Constitution.
They have that ability if they can get it done.
And that was in the Supreme Court decision
Yeah.
This is a Congress issue, not a executive branch.
That was the main
what I think Congress should do is something about visas for these people, that come here. A woman comes here when she's 8 months pregnant and gets a visa for 60 days. Well, can't they just change the laws, for something like that without changing the Constitution?
They can change the laws.
Don't give a visa to someone who's 8 months pregnant.
They can change the
and
laws.
Wants to come here.
They can change the laws as long as the laws follow the Constitution. That's the bottom
line. Yeah, well, I don't see why you have to grant a visa.
Yeah.
Why you have to grant a visa to someone right now if they're 8 months pregnant, and they want to come here.
Right.
And they're issued through the Department of State, so that's one way that the executive branch could throttle things a little bit. Yep.
I want to talk about something else, though. I want to talk about the justices, because I've heard other political commentators, particularly from the right, call Barrett all kinds of names and stuff. To me, Comey Barrett and John Roberts, who were the 2 crossovers on this vote. That's what I want from a judge.
Constitutionalist.
I want a judge who sees what they're judging against the Constitution and comes up with a verdict. Not against what her party platform is or what her party thinks that should be. And I've heard all these people sound like legal experts who have no credentials in it at all, but all of a sudden they can read the Constitution and know more than the justices of the Supreme Court. And I just, I know this is going to upset some of my conservative buddies, but hey, too bad.
I agree with you, Art.
I want a judge that's a judge. The judge is not based on party.
And that was the majority decision, was based on the text of what was written in.
She's a textualist.
In the citizenship clause. That's this is what it says, so this is what it means.
Yep.
It's pretty clear. The 14th Amendment's pretty clear in its language.
No,
I agree.
Don't get that far. It may be clear to a civilian. It's not as clear to attorneys.
That's true.
Well, they argue about what the meaning of the word is. So I'm not too concerned about that. I'm glad the decision came down the way it did.
Bill Clinton started
that.
Yeah,
well, yes. But if you ever hear an argument in front of the Supreme Court, it is very, very technical. It's not like a Hollywood argument where they just, make a point and everybody goes, yes, I agree.
Well, the reason it's technical is by the time it gets to the Supreme Court, all of the other facets of the case have been litigated. The Supreme Court is there to judge whether or not the foundational laws meet the constitutional test.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the other stuff is done already. Their arguments are based on constitutional law. My father was admitted to the Supreme Court to practice. He only did it once that I know of. But he told me a long time ago, that it was, first of all, don't read anything legal simplistically, because it's not. Yep. It's written to be that way. That's why we need judges and lawyers. All right, Carl. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Okay. Happy 4th.
Yep, you too. And in Bay City, we find Mark this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Hey, the budget's in Michigan, keeping it in Michigan, is potentially going to pass or close to getting done or finalized, or maybe even has been done. But we have to stay within the budget that is passed in the state of Michigan. But my governor has gone overseas and spent millions and millions of taxpayer monies to bring back to create jobs. So far, 3 to 6% has only come to light of the millions that have been spent of taxpayer dollars. Is there not a budget for governors
on
spending?
She has a budget. If we have to... She has a budget, and these forays into trying to attract business into Michigan are part of her budget.
But do we know what the budget line item is on how much she can? And that's going to be for any governor. I'm not just saying that, because after a while,
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's findable. It's not
okay.
It's not hidden.
All right. So I almost thought it was this FanDuel gambling type problem.
No,
spending money and we don't get anything in return.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's and in a way, you can say it's part of her job. Her job.
There's no benchmarks. There's just to spend that, regardless whether it's her or whoever.
Well, the benchmark is what do you get back for it? In other words,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, and I think companies have come here. I can't tell you the number. Well, I can't tell you the percentage. 3
to 6% so far is what has come back to the state of Michigan, and millions have been spent. Like the one down in Flint, they leveled out the dirt and cleared it all out and was going to make some sort of green energy type thing, and they ended up pulling out. But millions were spent doing that.
Yeah, but
now
that was because of local issues and things. You can't blame the governor who went and tried to get the business. And I'm not a fan of her.
Well,
understand. I'm not sitting here touting.
There's a certain responsibility that if you're going to try and attract business and spend money trying to attract business, there has to be some good chance for payout.
You mentioned the operative word. Try.
Yeah.
No guarantees. You go talk to.
Well, I just wondered.
It's like
I could go try out for an MLB baseball team, Art,
Yeah, you
and
could.
if I spend someone else's money to go do it, I owe that person some chance.
It's different. Here's what's different. You know your physical abilities. You know you're not
She knows
a
her
Major
state.
League Baseball player.
Yeah.
She doesn't look at the state the way you look at your body. She believes the state is, and any governor will believe this, that their state is primed to attract business.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have business to have jobs. So, I don't fault these kind of forays. I think as a compromise here, I think they should be limited. But she doesn't do it all the time. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. I think as a state, we have a responsibility to try and attract business. How do you attract them if you can't talk to them?
Fair enough. Yeah. I just wondered what the return, how much do you spend and just get something in return? That's all.
Yeah.
I'm looking at benchmarks, so I'm not knocking anybody. So
Good enough.
All right.
All right. Hey,
Take care.
Thanks, Mark. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's take a break. Come back, and we'll get to another call when we return here on the Art Lewis Show.
At Crystal Clear Hearing and Sound.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. And before we get to our next call, Jonathan did a little research during the break, and you discovered what about these trips?
Well, I'm seeing some differing opinions from various journalistic sources, but according to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, they agree, there's an agreement that the funding for Governor Whitmer's trips overseas for economic development purposes are paid for through a fund from the MEDC and the MEDF, which are state oversight, but the MEDC says it's paid for through private donations.
So they solicit money
to fund these
trips to build business enterprise in Michigan.
This is a quote attributed to a spokesperson for MEDC. No taxpayer dollars are used for the governor's international trade missions. These missions are funded through private and non-public donations to support critically important missions to drive employment and economic growth to Michigan.
What is a non-public donation?
It's not from a public fund, not taxpayer.
Oh, non-public, that way.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Let's go to Sheridan. Talk to Carol this morning. Hi, Carol.
Hi. Long time no talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was outdoors. I don't know what's going on because I'm trying to get my chores done before it gets too hot to go out there.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's already 83 here.
Well, of course, now the politics are getting pretty dirty, right? I mean, they're getting grubby now. But I was wondering, Perry Johnson grew up in a 60-square-foot house. 60, that's 20 by 30. Now, do you believe that?
I don't know.
No.
No, probably not.
20 by 30?
Maybe one room. I don't know. Listen.
He says... Oh, hold on. Here's a statement from Perry Johnson, 600 square foot.
Yeah, that's
what he's claiming.
600 is
that's
what I
20
heard.
by 30.
There are
600 square foot house would be a 20 by 30.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
My 59 arithmetic, right, works just as good as the new math. I hope they get rid of.
Understand,
there are 600 square foot houses.
Back in the day, there were a lot of 600
Yeah.
square foot houses. Not unusual.
20 by 30.
20 by 30.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also said he came up with a family that didn't have any money. So, and that fits a 20 by 30 house.
Well, I don't know. It's getting down and grubby
I don't
now.
know.
But,
Listen, I just chuckle at all of it. So.
Well, they're on so much. I mean, how can you avoid them? I mean, everything you turn on, their face is there.
Yeah, I know it.
He's got the money.
The guy I wanted dropped out, so I have nothing to say.
Well, me too. I thought he would be gone. You know, he helped Detroit a lot after killing Kilpatrick. You know, he really ruined Detroit. He really because them years that he was in there, those houses and things, they could have sold them for $20 and fixed them up instead of having to pay to smash them. You know, he was terrible, and I don't think they've ever got the money out of him. And I don't think Trump has never paid Grand Rapids and a lot of these places that they done special things for him. He refused to pay for that. So he still owes a lot of money around in Michigan too. But we won't talk about him because he's so nice.
You just did.
Well, I'm going outdoors and finish my chores.
All right,
I can't
you do that.
act it anymore.
Stay hydrated.
Everybody stay cool. Oh yeah, I found these V8 energy drinks are really, really nice. I don't know if anybody's found them.
Wow, I haven't tried that yet.
No, and then they've got one that's like Blissville. They're tea. They're caffeine-less tea, but they're really pretty. They're really pretty nice. They're not with a pop. They're with other things like cranberry juice or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're and even we got a watermelon guava because I thought, well, because the pomegranate one was gone and the black cherry was gone, but actually even that's kind of good. So
Good.
a little something different, no added sugar and kind of fun. Well, we'll talk later and you behave
Enjoy
yourself.
it. All right.
Enjoy the politics. I'm glad you like them.
No, I don't anymore.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Maria and Saginaw, hang on. We'll get to you after these notes.
Let's be honest.
And we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show, along with Jonathan Dent in studio with me. And next up is Maria in Saginaw. Maria, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lewis. Thank you for taking my call. I'm glad to hear you on the phone.
Yep. Go ahead.
What I'm wondering is about the data centers. They're kind of elusive. They need to be someplace. And I was listening to the news, and there was a news bite. They come so fast, and they have so much information, but then it's gone. But I wrote this down. A data center, the water needs in 1 year equal 1.3 billion per year water need. So I'm wondering, I think why people are wary of these centers is because of the water use, because
It's part of it.
aquifers in the farmland are very important to the farmers because they need water to grow crops.
There's three considerations. Three considerations, Maria. Water, as you've identified, is one of them. Power and the cost of it is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And noise pollution is the third one.
Okay, but I'm wondering if these data centers have so much intelligence, why can't they make their own water? I mean, H2O.
Well,
2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen.
because you got to have the hydrogen and oxygen. It's not that easy.
Okay.
But
but
what they are required
can they reuse it?
In some places, they are required to make their own power. Listen, it's a data center is nothing but a different kind of business going into a state. You look at the big industries around here, they use a lot of water. We don't require them to make their own, but they do recirculate where they can. And that's part of doing business. I mean, you have to have the infrastructure to have business.
Okay, so if a data center is so smart, if they use all this water, can they repurpose it? Where does the water go?
It evaporates.
It evaporates. It's heat that's generating it. It's used in cooling. So what they can recover, they will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest is evaporative loss.
Okay, so what if the water runs out? Then what?
Well, hopefully for us, never with the Great Lakes, but that's not likely. Not likely. First of all, if they don't have a supply of water, they can't build the data center.
If they don't think they're going to have a continuous supply, they won't build it.
They won't build it because it would do them no good.
Okay, but they can't repurpose it. They can't make their own.
They
So
can
the water.
they can repurpose what they recover.
But most of it evaporates
Most of
off
it's
because
evaporated.
that's the point. Is it's used for cooling. So when you sweat, it evaporates off and takes heat with it. That's kind of what they're doing. They're just pumping water through.
But why does a data center need so much water? I mean, if you put a
Because of the
radio
heat.
in a bathtub,
No.
it's gonna freak out.
Data centers are huge buildings that house nothing but hot running servers, hot electronics that need to be cooled. And that's what the water's for. All right, Maria, got to run.
Thank you.
Thanks. Talk to you again. Bye-bye. Mike is in Thomas Township. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Art and Jonathan. Last week I called in. I got two things I want to talk about. One, I called in about the honor flight for veterans, and I was talking to Jonathan and Charlie, and I got cut off at the end of it. I wanted to mention that on our flight we had a World War II veteran, and then 7 Korean War veterans, and then the rest of them were Vietnam era. We had about we had 79. They usually have about 80 people on a flight, but that was absolutely awesome.
Good.
But anyway, then what I really want to talk about is what's going on with the Democratic Party. I don't know what thing they're crazy. With all these socialists being admitted into giving them a position, or not giving them, they're voted in positions. But, man, I mean, they're just destroying it, and nobody seems to care from the party.
Oh, I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
I hope you're right. Cause,
but, we'll find out come Election Day.
Yeah, I know.
Not these primary elections, but...
No, I mean the presidential.
November.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that it doesn't totally destroy, the Democratic Party. I just wish that the two parties could work together more, but I guess they can't when you got somebody that was a non-politician, became president, and they just figured they just can't work with them, so they don't. But I don't know. I'm disappointed in what's going on.
All right.
But anyway, that honor flight was something else. Oh my God! I couldn't.
I was on one. I loved it. It was fabulous back in the day. All right, we got to run here. I got to get somebody else on. All right. Take care. Bye now. Bye. And we've got Tim in Hemlock going to be our last caller. Tim, good morning to you.
Hey, Art, how you doing? Just quickly, last caller, I think 90% of the people in this country have no idea what socialism and communism actually means, but it's used as a pretty good political.
That's why they don't. That's why they don't call themselves communists and socialists. They call themselves social democrats or Democrat socialists.
Well, that's totally different too, Art. But anyway,
but it is. But you'll never find them calling themselves communists running.
Well, there's a big difference between communism and socialism, but that's not why I called. You were talking about disparaging the court, and I think the court made the absolute right decision yesterday on birthright citizenship. It's not up to the court to look at policy. It's up to the court to read the Constitution.
Amen.
And to read the way it works.
Yep.
And this applies to right and left. When they say, "Hey, you left us. You didn't do what we wanted you to do," they're not supposed to do what you wanted to do.
That's right.
They're supposed to read the law or the Constitution. And I believe that's what they did in this case. Now, that being said, I think most of us do not like when a tourist or somebody like that comes into our country and has a baby and now it's a U.S. citizen immediately.
And that's all they did it for.
But the part about, pardon me?
That's all they did it for. The only reason they came here was to have the baby. China's been pumping that to us for years.
But, the other part is, what role does Congress have, as that one senator said, or one Supreme Court justice?
Well,
Congress can't on its own change the Constitution.
No, but they can change the laws. And if the laws are changed and meet a constitutional test, then Congress has acted. If they pass laws that don't meet a constitutional test, the Supreme Court's going to knock them down in the future.
And that was in the majority opinion was this is the wrong
Kavanaugh's.
mechanism to go about this.
Yeah.
That was Kavanaugh's, but that's not accurate. The only way to change, this is the other part, the only way to change the Constitution is for Congress, it's a 2/3 of the Senate, 2/3 of the House, to pass a move to make an amendment, and then it takes
38 states.
38 out of 50 states to approve it, or the other way would be for the states.
Yeah, but you're missing the
to
point,
ask
Tim.
for a constitutional convention.
You're missing the point. None of that stops Congress from passing any law they want to pass. It has to meet a constitutional test if somebody challenges it. But Congress is free to pass all the laws they want. and they take effect when they're passed until some court says no.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Real
Based
quick,
on what the
I'm almost
court
out of
said
time.
yesterday, if Congress passes a law that says if you're not birthplace citizenship is reneged,
It's going to have to meet a constitutional test. Got to run. I'm out of time. We'll talk more about it, Tim.
Gotcha.
Thanks. Jonathan,
All right.
thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
And we will be back with more after the news.
Got a home repair problem? Don't get